Hi there, my name is Philip and welcome to the first webinar here for the Togu Challenge Disk. My colleague Anna and I will introduce you to our Togu Challenge Disk and explain to you a little bit about how it works and the scientific background and also about its benefits and everything. Let me briefly start with an introduction of our company, Togu. Our company was started in 1956 in Germany. We are specialists in air-filled therapy and training devices. And we are still proud that we are still manufacturing in Germany. All of our devices are manufactured in the company that you see on the picture right there. We have combined our experience with balancing and devised a new tool. That's the Challenge Disk 2.0, which you can see here. The Challenge Disk basically, as it comes to a customer, is equipped with a measuring sensor, and the sensor measures every move and transfers the measurement via Bluetooth to any device, like a tablet, PC, or a smartphone. The app is free of charge. And you can use the Togu balance disk for a lot of various tasks. You can use it in rehab and therapy. You can use it for athletic training, sports, especially professional sports. That's where it's mainly used. You can also use it at home or for health awareness programs, because it's very easy to handle, as you will see in the upcoming minutes and in the upcoming hour. The benefits, generally speaking, the benefits of balance, and especially, of course, the balance that you train on the balance disk or on the challenge disk. If you have well-coordinated muscles, you avoid energy waste, which is especially important for athletes. They want to be as efficient as possible. Strength, endurance, mobility, and speed are employed more efficiently. It increases your fitness and performance, of course, because if you don't waste energy on trying to compensate for something, this will make you faster and gives you better endurance. It also increases the flexibility of joints, which again helps you to avoid injury, and it's good for everyday moves, and it's also good for, especially good for athletic activities. For rehabilitation, it's also important in the prevention of falls. And one of the key factors is actually motivation for patients in rehab training, but also for athletes to do something about balance. Because if you just stand on some device and it doesn't give you a real feedback, this can be quite boring for the person that is training on that. So this is something that the Challenge Disk helps you with. The Challenge Disk was actually developed in cooperation with Innsbruck University, with Professor Dr. Rushner. Professor Dr. Rushner, among other things, is also the leading person at the Olympic training station in Innsbruck, Austria, and is also working closely with the Austrian ski Olympic team or national team. And to actually get all the scientific background, we used the Challenge Disk for evaluation of more than 10,000 tests, roughly half of them male and the other half females. We used about 30 test leaders that collected the data. And we set up the norm values based on all the data that we received. So we created 4 age categories: youth and adolescents, young adults, and adults. And we defined the norm values for each of these categories, as you can see on the screen. Just as an example, female, and that's the left upper corner, yes. There would be a norm value of 2.06 to 2.99, which is the index. That would be the norm. So as you are going to see in the later testing, when you are in this range, you are just within the norm. If you are better than that, then obviously you are already very good, or if you are weaker, you need more training. This is how the test results are actually being shown on the user interface. Again, we are going to do some testings now, so you will see that in live tests. Just briefly, you can enter the test person's name, the year of birth, the gender, which will help you to see the standard range for your age down below there. It's 1.7 to 3.3 for somebody born 1975. And you can compare it to your actual test result, which in this case is 2.28. So this tells us that you are just well within the standard range. If you were better than 1.7, you have obviously an excellent balancing. Otherwise, if you are worse than 3.3, you need a lot of training. In the upper right corner, you see a recommendation for your training level, which relates to the later training that we are going to show you with the Togu challenge disk. Another feature is the PDF file here. You can create a PDF and store it for later comparisons. We're going to show you that briefly too. And of course, you could redo the test with replay. So let's switch to the computer. As you can see, if you download the app, it's free of charge. You will have this MFT icon. To start the app, you double click on the icon, and at the same time, you need to briefly step on the challenge disk. This is my colleague Anna. So she stepped on the challenge disk, it connected. You saw that there is a short calibration, which takes usually just a few seconds. Now the interface is in German, which is the standard setting, but you can change to any other language, for example, English, Spanish, French, and so on. We are continuing with English, of course. Let's start with the warm-up item menu. Basically, this is a 2-minute lecture explaining to you briefly what the exercises on the Togu challenge disks are about and the benefits of it. So let's just go through it. The avatar tells us we are ready now. So if you bend sideways, this exercise stabilizes your ankle, knee, hip joints and increases the flexibility between pelvis and spine. Obviously, this is important for everyday life, but also for professional athletes because it reduces the risk of injuries. Now hold in the center of balance. And now we are tilting forwards and backwards. This helps the interaction of back and stomach muscles and your core muscles. And the exercise actually helps to synchronize those muscles. Again, it stretches your calf muscles, thereby reducing the risk of Achilles injuries. Okay, so we are ready for the next one. If you rotate clockwise, this will give your joints more flexibilities. And as you can see, it's also for better execution of specific sport techniques and athletic activities. Same thing if you rotate counterclockwise, as it's going to be next. So same thing here. The important thing to note is this is just a warm-up menu, so you can go through it to get a general idea, but usually we will start with the test itself later on. So this would be the point where you usually start with is self-check. You can select both legs or one leg. We are going to use one leg because it's important to note that you can actually not only measure balance, but also find out whether one leg is better than the other, which indicates that you have actually a disbalance between your two legs. So as you can see, the goal is to keep the green dot well into the center. which you can only achieve if you keep the balance disc in a level position. So you see Anna trying to balance here very nicely. You see the score. Now you have a brief pause of 15 seconds and you change to the other leg. So 5 seconds and the test is going to start. Okay. So that's in the beginning, it's usually very difficult. The first time you do the test, you will maybe struggle a little bit. Although people, of course, with a good balance usually fare quite well, even in the beginning. So we have 6 more seconds to go until the test is finished. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so you can enter the name of the test person here. Let's say Anna, for example. Enter the year of the birth. So we have the year of the birth, the gender. It's female, of course. And then you can see the standard range that refers to the age. And we can see here from the result that the left leg, balancing on the left leg, that Anna has done, had some difficulties there. She achieved only 3.94 as a score. On the right leg, she achieved 2.96. So 2.96 would be well within the standard range, which is 1.7 to 3.2. But 3.94 is actually worse than the standard range. So what does that tell us? Well, there is a difference between left and right. So we need to reduce this, especially if you're a professional sports athlete. You want to make sure that you're well balanced. So the indication here would be actually to try to train the left leg more, or you should train, of course, both legs, but try to train the left leg more to get into balance. The recommendation here is to start with level 5 training. So let's go to the training and let's look at the both legs training just to make it simple. As you have seen, we had a recommended level 5, so this would be easy. You could, of course, also choose other levels as well, but I come to that later. In the training, the goal is actually to put the green dot into the red area and keep it there. Now the red area is going to move actually. So in the first exercise, it's going to move from left to right. The exercise will take roughly 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes and 30 is the total time for the exercises. So this is the first one. And here you can already notice one of the main features of our Togu challenge disc, which is the methodology. There is a strict method in how you train. It's not just coincidence. We spend a lot of time to actually create those exercises and to make exercises to train around various axes. So to shift back and forth, to shift sideways, to maintain the disc in a level position as seen now in the pause here. Yeah. And then we have a horizontal movement would be the next exercise. So here you have to move with the area in a continuous way, which is not quite easy to do. But as you see, these plane exercises help you to have always the same conditions for training, which is that's what makes it scientific too. So not only the evaluation that we did with the norm values, but actually to break up the exercises in a way that you train particularly a particular movement. So in this case, it's the vertical movement, forwards and backwards. then balance. And now you have a clockwise rotation. And there is also a nice story, actually, that I could tell you right now, or that I will tell you right now. Our CEO had troubles with his prolapses. So it was very painful for him, and he's actually a very good sportsman, an athlete doing a lot of sports, and he had really good balance before that. And after that, he was doing mountain biking. He goes sailing. He does a lot of sports. Anyway, when he had the prolapse, of course, this is obviously very painful. And as he started to recover, he did a test on the Togu challenge disc and noticed that he's doing very bad. So during the whole period of rehabilitation, he made those checks to see whether he improves and also whether he's fit for sports again. And during rehabilitation, he really improved. So you could read that every time you looked at the results, you could see, okay, there is an improvement. So you don't even need to train with the challenge disc. You can train on any other Togu device, which we strictly recommend that you do in the intermediate time. So here you see now the evaluation of Anna's exercises. You see that the static balance was very good. 82% of the time she was within the balance range. Then you see the pop-up left and right and so on. So you have a very detailed analysis around the various axes of movements. You also get a recommendation, a feedback from our avatar, which says, which tells you the score, which you can again enter as a high score here, or you could make a screenshot or just note the score for later references. Not bad, but sure you can do even better. So of course you can always train. If we go back, let's stay here in that menu for a brief while. You have various levels. So this was the easiest level. Now, just for comparison, we click into the most difficult one. You see there are a lot more exercises. Instead of 9 exercises, there are 14. And as you will also see, we won't go through all the exercises, but as you will see, the red area is also going to be much smaller. So it will be more difficult. And yeah, so it's a lot more difficult to hit the small red dot. And again, you have more exercises, so it's more challenging. And actually, we do not recommend to overdo it with too many exercises. As you will see, sensory motoric training should take maybe for 10 or 15 minutes. It shouldn't be too long. Okay. So this is what we can do, for training. But there is a fun component or a motivational component, which are the games. So again, we select both legs just to make it a little bit easier. Let's go through the games just briefly, ping pong, just to get an idea what kind of games we have. And each of these games actually has a purpose. So it's not just a sheer coincidence. Here, for example, you have to move forward and backward to steer this little wall, which actually should separate the balls and reflect the balls. So that's about the forward and backward movement. We can briefly have a look at the cross. Here you have a sideways movement, so you have to tilt to the left or to the right to actually fall with the ball in those holes in between. Okay. And the butterfly is really very popular, especially with children, of course. But it's also quite a difficult task because you have the butterflies coming in from all directions and you have to catch them with the catcher. So you have to actually move in all directions. So again, as you see, there is a specific purpose to this exercise. Usually the exercises take about 1.5 minutes. And it takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes to play all of the exercises. Let's go to soccer as well. Soccer, also very nice, fun game. You have to also shift forwards and backwards. Slalom, very popular in our area because we all are passionate skiers and snowboarders. So we all can relate to this exercise here. Basically, you have to stay between the poles and try to maneuver between them by tilting to the left or to the right. Oh, so Anna should ski more often, I see. Okay, and the last game is probably the most difficult one. It's the car race. Here you have to tilt forwards to accelerate the car. You have to tilt backwards to slow down the car, or even to put it in reverse. You tilt sideways to steer it around the curve. Yeah, so Anna turns it into the wrong direction. Hopefully she doesn't cause a crash. So that was all about the games. Seen a question asking, the unit comes alone and the customer needs to provide the tablet screen. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. So what the customer gets, the Togu challenge disk. The customer also can download the app free of charge to any of his devices, but he needs to have his own tablet, his own smartphone, or his own PC. So what the customer buys is the challenge disk and the free software. One more question here. Philip, do customers use their phones on it today or opt for a tablet and TV? Well, customers can use it on any of these devices. So they can use it on a tablet, smartphone. Obviously, the disk can only connect to one device at a time, which means if you have already connected it to your tablet, you cannot connect it to your smartphone in that very moment where you are using it. But if you disconnect it from your tablet, you can immediately switch to your smartphone, or you can immediately switch to the TV. So that's the nice thing about it. Most customers probably use it on a tablet. What we recommend, and that's probably also an important point, you should never hold the device, the tablet or the smartphone in your hands while you're doing the exercises, because if you do, you will always get bad results. Why? Because your visual reference is going to move with you. So you will never get it right with centering it in the middle. So you should place the tablet or the smartphone either on a table, or you should fix it somewhere to a wall, or there are a lot of great tools where you can put it on, but they should always have a stable surface. I think we are done for now. Again, do not hesitate to contact us and we'll provide you with more information about the challenge disk. And thanks a lot to Anna. She has done a great job there. And thanks especially to you to participate in the webinar.